Orange County Registered Digital.
Hello and welcome to the OCVarsity Gridiron Show Week 5. I'm your host, Jonathan Khamis, joined by Steve Fryer and Dan Albano. Guys, we're here at Los Alamitos High School. They're set to take on Narbonne in a huge matchup. We'll talk about that on the OCVarsity Gridiron Extra Show. But first, our stars of the week, gentlemen, and I have none other than Edward Vander of J. Sarah. 231 yards on the ground, guys, and 6 touchdowns. That's no joke. Steve, who you got?
Carlos Martin, running back at La Habra, senior, 429 yards, 4 touchdowns rushing, and also had a touchdown reception against Colony of Ontario. And Colony was ranked number 1 in the CI Southern Section Central Division. That's pretty good football there. So Carlos Martin had a heck of a day.
I know you always hit me up with a defensive guy. Dan, who is it this week?
This week, defensive star of the week was Tristan Kafentis, safety at Tesoro. Number 1, he's jersey number 1, had 14 total tackles against Corona Del Mar. I want to say he has been the biggest snub of the year that I gave on the Hot 150. This kid should have been in the Hot 150. Right now, Tristan Kafentis, number 1 snub of the year. And this guy, he put a big hit on, had several big hits. Big one on Peter Bush, who's a very good player at Corona Del Mar.
No wonder Tristan's playing so well. He wants to prove you wrong. Dan, you mentioned it earlier. Tesoro ending the longest winning streak in all of California, guys. Corona Del Mar. Tesoro beating Corona Del Mar 28-14. But the Titans have another tough test, and that is coming up with the Tritons.
Yeah, I saw San Clemente last week, Jonathan and Dan, and totally impressed by Sam Darnold. In my mind, he is now the front runner for all-county quarterback, which is a heck of a competition. He's so good. He throws the ball as well as anybody, can run it, and he's such a big guy. When he runs, you know, safety's just going, you know, what's coming at me, you know, because he's huge, he's fast, he can change directions, throws the ball as well as anybody. You know, Travis Waller's looking really good too. Hey, it's still September 29th as we're doing this. There's still a lot of ball to be played. But I was impressed by Sam and Tesoro, of course. They just keep, you know, impressing left and right as the season's progressed.
Yeah, you saw Tesoro, Dan. What do you think their chances are against San Clemente? This should be a really good game.
It should be a really good game. Tesoro really impressed me with their defense. You know, everybody, we were saying that Corona Del Mar maybe had, you know, the best defense, one of the best defenses around. They have, you know, so many returning starters from last year, but it was Tesoro's defense that was better. Now they have to contend with, you know, Sam Darnold. It's going to be tough. And you talked about the safety, Steve. That's a great point because now it's a great matchup. Sam Darnold and Tristan Kafentis, the safety from Tesoro. So that's going to be quite a matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking forward to that one. Guys, changing gears for a second. Kind of a slow week this week. Only 4 out of top 10 schools playing this week. And let's take private schools out of the equation. I want to know who is the best public school in Orange County. Steve, I'll start with you.
Well, I'm kind of almost looking down the road in terms of what can develop and what's going to happen down there. I think because of injuries that they've had to deal with so far, I think Mission Viejo can still probably grab that crown. You know, Tesoro, I think I wouldn't have an argument with somebody saying Tesoro is the #1 public school in Orange County. They got the paperwork done by beating Corona Del Mar. You know, when Tesoro plays Mission, that's the one that's going to answer it, you know, in their big South Coast League match. But right now, I still, I don't know, maybe I'm getting old and getting a little too traditional, fellas, but I still think Mission is there just a notch above. Hey, you got to love what Tesoro's done, the way they've come up the last 3 weeks. Corona Del Mar, you know, maybe they play Tesoro this week, they win that game this time, you know, turnovers and all that stuff play a part. But I'm still going to stick with Mission, but I know that's not going to be very popular, is it, Dan?
I don't think it will be. Hey, don't forget about Los Alamitos behind us. They're real good too. Dan, who do you think is the best public school in the county?
You know, I think it's Tesoro right now, just because of their resume. I mean, don't forget they beat Upland 28-14. That's the same score that Mater Dei beat Upland by, 28-14. They've beaten a Chaparral. Their one loss was against La Mirada that turned out to be a really good team. La Mirada is a, you know, SoCal top 20 team in my opinion. But, you know, to beat in the schedule they're playing and, you know, to beat Upland and then come back and beat Corona Del Mar, you know, if they can beat San Clemente is a team on the rise. So I'd give it to the Titans. But we can't forget about the Sunset League. And I certainly like the way, you know, CIF sets up for this public school battle with the West Valley Division, the Sunset League. You can't forget about Los Al Edison coming and crossing over with the South Coast League. And then you're going to have Corona Del Mar going to that new Southwest Division with La Habra and the Freeway League. So the public school is going to be really awesome in the playoffs.
And that's going to be refreshing to see, because we want to see as many public schools as we can, because we all know the privileges that the private schools have, and the Trinity League, just look at it, top 5 in the top 10. All right, our thanks to Dan Albano and Steve Fryer. That's going to do it for this edition of the OC Varsity Gridiron Show. Check out OCVarsity.com for all your latest football updates. That's OCVarsity.com, where we've got you covered.